And you talk about weak, Joe Biden. Joe Biden and the socialists will kill your jobs, dismantle your police departments, dissolve your borders, confiscate your guns, and impose a $4 trillion tax hike on your companies and yourselves. You know what $4 trillion is? That's the largest tax hike in the history. And you know what they're going to do with it? They're going to spend it on the Green New Deal. Conceived by the brilliant AOC +3, a poor student with absolutely no environmental experience, right? They want to attack religious liberty, drive God from the public square, and destroy your suburbs. I say that to the women because I keep hearing, they said, the women from the suburbs. No, I think the women from the suburbs are looking for a couple of things. One of them is safety, one of them is good, strong security, and one of them is they don't want to have low-income housing built next to their house. And you know who makes up 30% of your suburbs? Minorities, African Americans, right? Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, minorities, okay? People think, is it racist? It's not racist, it's the opposite. I've had them come to me, people come to me and say, thank you so much. But they keep talking about the women from the suburbs. I say, I think we're going to have a big resounding, what the hell happened with women to the suburbs? They really like Trump a lot. No. Only vote for me if you're a woman from the suburbs. And, I shouldn't say this because they'll bring it up, but one time, early on, I haven't been doing this that long, right? I haven't been doing it. I have guys that have been running, sir, I've been running for 40 years. I said, well, I've only run for 2 years, but I became president. You didn't. But, it's sort of interesting because I really think that women from the suburbs are going to like Trump because I think it's going to be one of the big, because that's it. It is about safety. It is about safety. And when you see what happens in our cities where they run and ransack and they're anarchists. And you know what? They say the suburbs are they actually say the suburbs are next. And just so you know, so important, these are Democrat-run states and cities. Republicans are doing great. And we're not going to let this happen. And we'll stop it. We want a resounding victory. We're going to stop it. But the suburbs are next. But I did say, early on, I said housewives from the suburbs. They went after me when I said that. Let me ask you, the women from the suburbs, do you mind when we say housewives from the suburbs? No? They're all saying no. But I'll do it politically correct anyway. If you don't, I'll say women. But I said housewives from the suburbs. They went crazy. Donald Trump. He wasn't politically correct, they said, Michael. Biden supports cutting police funding, abolishing cash bail. You get a murderer. Oh, let's let him out. Oh, let's let him walk the street. You see what's happening in New York? What they're doing to New York, our governor, what he's doing to New York is horrible. And he called law enforcement, Sleepy Joe, he called law enforcement recently the enemy. No, law enforcement has done an incredible job. And you're always going to have a bad apple. You're always going to have somebody that chokes. They have like a quarter of a second. You ever see the test where somebody slashes open the door? You got a quarter of a second. And they could be on the force for 30 years. But that's a hard thing to do, right? And you're going to have people, they choke. Like in sports, you see it, they choke. Some people choke. Then you have Jack Nicklaus, and you have Tiger, and you have great people that tend to choke a lot less. But, some people choke, and it's not their fault. It's just the way it is. You have a quarter of a second to make a decision. Quarter of a second. Think of it. Joe Biden and the Democrat Party have waged a war on police, on cops, and inciting riots. And that's what you do. When you take away the majesty of that position, you are inciting violence. When you allow people to loot stores and you have the police standing back and they want to go in and do their job, and they can do it so easy. You don't even need us to bring in the National Guard like we did in Minneapolis, like we were ready to do in Seattle, and then they gave up the night before because they didn't want to play games. I was so disappointed when they gave up. I was. The one I really want to do is Portland. That's going to be so easy. We have to be invited in. The governor doesn't want. I call her. I say, Governor, let us go in. Give us 30 minutes, Governor. But you know what? I don't want to violate. It would be. I could, I guess, if I did. But we have to be invited in. And this city, it's the craziest thing. These are anarchists. That would be the easier one. Would love to go in and do something big with Chicago. That's actually a bigger problem. That's actually a bigger problem. Hard. The easy one are the anarchists in the middle of the street that hate our country, hate our cops. You saw them. They killed this young man, right? They shot him in the street. And a day went by. They knew the guy, and they didn't arrest him. Another day went by. They didn't. I called down. I said, "What's going on?" They didn't arrest him. They knew who he was. They knew where he was. They didn't want. They would have never. So I sent in our great U.S. Marshals. They were so happy. You know, the law enforcement, they love our country. They were so happy. And this guy was a killer. He had other crimes too, by the way, bad ones. But he shot this young man right in the middle of the street. Shot him. You heard the bullet ring out. You heard the people scream. They knew who it was. They said that was so-and-so. So after 2.5 days, I said, go in. Got to get him. 15 minutes, it was all over. It was all over. That was it. It's all over. Here in Nevada, rioters burned the city of Reno. And during the violent demonstrations in Las Vegas, a 29-year-old police officer was deliberately shot in the head while he was doing his job. Think of it. You know who that was, right? You know who he was. Joe Biden. Is he here or no? Right? You know who I talk, because his partners were, we talked to a lot of the people that were there. I think his partner's here. But I want to tell you, we can't let this happen. They've taken away the respect. You have to let them do their job. They'll do it well. You can't have, remember in Minneapolis, where the mayor ordered the police to leave the premises, right? Seattle, leave the premises. And then they took over the police department. You have that, you're not going to have a country. But this is the radical left. This is the radical left. Joe Biden will appease the rioters, looters, and anarchists, and I'm having them arrested instead, okay, if you don't mind. And remember, it's all in Democrat cities and states, all in Democrats. If you're a moderate Democrat or a liberal who knows that your party has gone totally off the rails, we are welcoming you with open arms to the Republican Party. Biden's agenda would also be a catastrophe for Nevada seniors. Seniors, any seniors here? For years, Biden tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. You know that, right? Remember they used to say, oh, I'm going to cut it. Well, what happened? I never cut it. Remember they said, I'm going to be in wars. You know, that's my personality, they think. It's not really. It is if we have to. I'll be better than anybody else. But, you know, you say, whatever happened to North Korea? Remember we were supposed to be in a war with Obama or Hillary or whoever it was. You would have been in a war. Obama expected to be in a war.